How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, WagerTalk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite WagerTalk capper for the package, and remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.
Welcome, everybody, to Wager Talk Today. I am Lawrence Pressman. He is Teddy Covers. It is August 5th. It's a Thursday. We're excited to be here. Dave Cokin joining us right off the top. 3 baseball games. Mariners, Yankees, Braves, Cardinals, and the Royals versus the White Sox. Andrew McInnis after that, Teddy. We're going to do a little bit of Canadian football and some NFL. What do you got in store in your big game breakdown?
Well, I figured that I gave a little opinion on the Hall of Fame game on Tuesday. I thought we'd revisit it on Thursday. So we'll talk about the opening night of the NFL season tonight in my big game breakdown. And what are you going to talk about in your presidential address, Prez?
Well, I'm going to promote the crap out of the show, give a little bit of actionable information, maybe a laugh along the way. The presidential address kind of comes together during the show, Teddy, whereas your big game breakdown comes together many, many hours before the show. You win last night?
I did. Although, if you want to talk about what I learned last night, and Prez, I got to say, first of all, I got to give you grief for ripping me for not giving enough info and what I learned last night. What I learned last night can be anything. It's a chance for us to show our personalities. It's a chance for us to give good info. And it's not always something that's going to be actionable for that day. But one of the things that I rip you about, Prez, is some of your superstitious stuff. When you're like, oh, I haven't changed my underwear in 3 weeks because I've been on this great winning streak in hockey. And last night, I realized I still have one superstition that is very real. And I almost broke it last night, and it almost cost me an 8-run winner. I can't say it almost cost me, but sure. I don't write the W, click that W in my spreadsheet until the game is over. And last night, I have the Blue Jays in the run line. They're up 8-0 into the 8th. They're taking out all the starters, putting in the defense replacements. And next thing you know, I opened the spreadsheet at 8-0, Prez, but I did not type in the W. And I thought about it, I'm like, I'm watching it. And all of a sudden, here we go, bases loaded. Now it's a 3-run double. And now all of a sudden it's another rally. And then in the 9th inning, it's a home run to open. And all of a sudden, this 8-0 is a sweat and a half. I mean, a big time sweat. Now, I was tempted to write that W, and I didn't. And of course, we ended up winning on the run line, 8-6 final. But I'm sweating balls for the 8th and 9th inning of that ball game. If I had written the W, if I typed that in, we'll never know what happened. But there's my superstition, Prez. What about you?
Well, I mean, listen, first, I just want to say right off the bat, it is not my underwear. My underwear definitely gets changed at least once a week. It was my track pants. I kept the same track pants. One of them went 14 days, dude. I mean, come on.
I remember.
14 days. Yeah. And I did it all with a smile, baby, because I was winning the whole way through. Last night I won. I had the San Francisco Giants and -1.5. And Teddy, I got to tell you flat out, bro, I started the baseball season badly. You know that. I mean, I was somewhere around, 30% winning. Like we were talking about it, and I was always like, I'm a day late. You and I had a long phone call, and I swear to God, since that very phone call, I mean, I went on an 18-3 run after that phone call. I am still on a massive baseball run, and I really attribute it to that phone call because, you tend to, I don't want to say you forget. You get caught up. You're in the middle of it and you get caught up in what you're doing and how you're seeing things. And you don't really pull back and look at sort of the basics. And that's what that call did for me, man. It really helped me just isolate.
Well, talk about what we talked about. Because you're saying, we had this great call, but you're not sharing any of the info.
Well, basically, in a nutshell, the info is, pick a team and ride them. And it's not necessarily one team. I'm saying what I'm saying is, like, let's say you like, the Chicago White Sox. They lost last night to Kansas City. Let's say you think they're going on a 5-game run and you bet them tonight and they lose. I was just moving away from them after that loss because I was mad. Whereas now I'm sticking to the original thought of them winning the next 5 games. And it has really been a godsend, especially with the fact that I've been playing a lot of run line bets and a lot of run line bets on the Giants and the Brewers and the Blue Jays and the White Sox, staying inside of these really good teams who are really winning 2 out of 3 on a regular basis. And with the run line as well. So, shout out to you, man. I mean, that was such a great call and really, really helped me. And it shows that no matter how long you do this, no matter how much of an expert you think you are, we're never too old and never too experienced to go back to basics and to learn. And that's sort of my takeaway.
Yeah, I mean, the concept that I was talking about, and again, it's easy enough to talk about concepts, and it's oftentimes harder to execute those concepts.
Yeah.
But the concept that you and I were talking about on that call was the way to make money. And of course, this is the time of year right now when you talk about the midsummer month where we want to be playing some of these run lines. We're laying 1.5 and laying 1.5. I'm doing that as well in August, in July and August in a way that I wouldn't do in April and May. But the concept was just find a handful of teams you want to bet on and a handful of teams you want to bet against. And focus on the particular spot for that particular night. And even if you lose 1 or 2 with a team that you want to be on during this stretch, you come back to them again and again. And it's worked for me. Obviously, it's worked for you. We're both having pretty good runs in MLB right now. Hey, Cokin's having a pretty good run in MLB, but his run has lasted about, a lifetime. Certainly the last couple of years, Cokin's been phenomenal in Major League Baseball. Let's bring him in again and hear his thoughts.
Dave Cokin, welcome to WagerTalk Today, twice this week. What a pleasure to have you. Still blown away by your 80-1 golf winning projection. Incredible stuff. How are you, dude? You winning?
I lost last night. I had the Tigers first 5, and Mize got into a little home run trouble in the 5th inning. And Eduardo Rodriguez was really good last night for Boston, so it was a pretty easy loser. Try and bounce back today. I only played 1 game today. But you can find it right now on my homepage at WagerTalk.
Excellent stuff, Dave Cokin, everyone. And you deep into the college football numbers already? I mean, you spending hours a day going through college?
No, I don't have to spend hours a day because I've already done most of the work, and now it's just a sit back and wait type of thing. But I am not going to play anything real early for the simple reason that the reality is we don't know who's going to be on the field next month. It's just, unfortunately, that's the way it is. We're going to see a lot of the same stuff we saw last year. So I'll be waiting until later to play games. I don't feel like tying up my money and then finding out that my team's missing 25 guys because they tested positive. So gonna have to wait for the information to come down. And patience will be a virtue this season in college football.
Yeah, that is for sure. Dave, let's get into it. The first game we're going to talk about is Seattle versus the Yankees. And we have the New York Yankees sitting at -200 with a total of 9.5. And I mean, the Seattle just keeps kind of rolling, man. I don't want to say under the radar, but this is a team nobody's really talking about. They are in striking distance for the wild card. They just went into Tampa Bay and won 2 of 3. How we betting this game?
Yeah, they caught the Rays a little bit flat, I think. Tampa coming out of that real big series, which they swept against the Red Sox, and I think they kind of looked at Seattle and kind of maybe took the pedal off the metal a little bit and got upset twice in a row. They did bounce back and hold on for a 4-3 victory yesterday, but the Mariners are still hanging in there. I keep expecting this team to fall apart, but they're not doing it. Tonight, Tyler Anderson versus the impressive young Nestor Cortez. Not that young, actually, but young in terms of Major League experience. Money on Seattle, probably because the line was just too high. It opened like 245. It's down to 200 now. I think that's probably about the right price. Cortez has looked good, and the Yankees are showing some signs of life. So I think the Yankees are probably the right side here, but it's in a zone where I don't want to play. And Anderson is respectable enough so that this isn't one of those easy, well, let's go ahead and just take him on the runs line deals, because he's not a great pitcher, but he's decent enough so that Cortez will have to be good here for the Yankees to get the win. I think they will, but it's at a price that to me is unplayable. I'm going to hear that a lot from me over the next 2 months, because the big chalk is not enticing for me as a rule, and full game runs lines are not enticing to me. I know you guys might be doing well with them, but not for me. I don't. For me, runs lines are limited to the first 5 innings. I'll lay a half run at a lower price for the first 5, but I still don't want to get involved with bullpens.
So I want to ask you about this Yankees lineup, Dave, because prior to the series against the Orioles, even that first game against the Orioles, they weren't hitting. They scored 4 or less, in 8 straight games, and the approach to the plate just wasn't there. And then the last 2 games, over the last 2 nights against Baltimore, they've annihilated them, 23 runs, home runs in bunches. Everyone's starting to hit. Is that a buy sign for this Yankees lineup that's kind of underachieved a little bit, or is this kind of a hiccup and we can expect some more lower scoring affairs for a team that was cashing unders in bunches prior to that series against Baltimore?
Well, I think the lineup's clearly better now. You've added 2 really good bats, Rizzo in particular, and it won't show in batting average because he doesn't have a high average, but Joey Gallo's a good on-base guy, and he's got a ton of power, obviously. So it's a better lineup than we've seen earlier this season, but they've still got a couple of, you're still fielding a team on a nightly basis where you've got Gleyber Torres, who hasn't hit all year, Sanchez, who goes on a hot streak maybe once every 2 months, and outside of that hits 210. Brett Gardner's still seeing action, and it's like, really? So I think it's a better lineup than it's been, but not a great lineup. I still don't think they're a playoff team. I don't think the pitching's there, to be honest with you.
Dave, Cokin, everyone. Dave, let's move to the Atlanta Braves versus the Cardinals. And, only a half game separates them in the wild card chase, but both teams so far behind. Atlanta still has a pathway in their division with the Mets sitting above them at 3 over. Now they're minus 115, a total of 9. Are the Braves sweeping, or do we take St. Louis tonight?
Well, I think the Braves have gotten back to 500. And if they win today, it'll be the first time all season they've had a winning record. They have not been able to climb over the 500 mark at any point this season. So a little positive momentum there. The betting market certainly has embraced the Braves tonight. Toussaint was not good in his last start, was very good in his first couple. Wade LeBlanc, well, people don't like betting on Wade LeBlanc, and I can't say I really blame him for that. But the Braves, it won't get a bet from me. I don't trust Toussaint. And it's almost a mental hurdle that they have to overcome here. If they can finally get over 500, who knows? They might take off and get hot and catch the Mets. I mean, they did improve themselves at the deadline. But they're going to have to get over 500 first, because that's been a problem for them. Every time they've gotten to 500, they've lost. I don't want LeBlanc. I'd only play the Braves, but not as a favorite. The opening line was minus 115 the other way, so the value is gone. See ya. It's not there. You're taking much the worst of it from a value standpoint if you bet the Braves now as opposed to earlier.
So I was reading some quotes prior to this series, and it looked to me like St. Louis was really kind of circling this series as this is their chance, and they've kind of played mediocre baseball since the All-Star break. And they came out, and Lester got bombed in the first inning of the first game, and then yesterday they blow the lead and lose. Is this a Cardinals team that we might want to think about fading moving forward? Is St. Louis a bet against at this stage, or is there still some hope for the Cardinals?
I don't know. Maybe it's a different read for me than it is for the players on the team. But when I saw what they did at the deadline, it's like, John Lester and Jay Happ? Really? Those are your ads? two guys who are way past their prime. And if I'm playing on the Cardinals, I'm not going to say it to the media. Obviously, I'm going to put on a good face and say, yeah, we're ready to make a run. But if I'm on the Cardinals, I'm saying, are you kidding me? That's what we did at the deadline with all these guys out there, and we picked up these two guys who are combined 943 years old. I don't think it was a positive for the Cardinals, and they haven't exactly done well since the deadline. They haven't even won a game.
Dave Cokin. Dave, let's talk Kansas City. Kansas City, a nice win yesterday, 9-1 over the White Sox. With that said, they lost 4 games before that, but they have been playing better baseball of late. Tonight they are, the White Sox minus 200. My issue personally with the White Sox, honestly, is I just need to see some consistent bat work out of them. That's why I'm kind of staying away from playing them on the run line right now. How do you attack this game?
Well, I don't, because I don't know what to do with Dallas Keuchel. He's just not pitching well. Look at the last start for Keuchel. I mean, they get him a big early lead, and I think that's the game they eventually lost. He gave up most of the runs, and the bullpen didn't pitch well that day. Keuchel's, I don't see him in their rotation come playoff time. I think he's going to be the odd man out. And I can't lay this kind of a price with him. Daniel Lynch, the rookie, he's had one really good start. The others have not been so good. I mean, it looks like a spot where the White Sox should be able to get some stuff done offensively. But you want to go and lay 190 with Keuchel, be my guest. I'm not going to do it. And sorry, I don't have stronger opinions today, but it's a limited schedule. And again, a lot of big truckers at this time of year. So I'm very choosy, let's put it that way. And I just could not find a thing on this game. I think I'll say it's priced right.
Well, let me ask you this, because the quotes coming out of his last start for Keuchel were as positive I've heard him say any all year. Quote, "This is probably the best physically I felt all season. I felt the ball was coming out of my hand very well, sinking, cutting, mixing the slider very well." He said he gave up a lackadaisical mechanical flaw that gave up a home run. If I clean that up, we'll be all right. Is there any bet on potential for Keuchel moving forward? Are those positive quotes meaningful to you in any way, or he's got to show it on the field before you want money on this guy?
No, he's got to show it. And look, the White Sox, they're already in the playoffs. I mean, they can't miss the playoffs. So, you're going to be looking at huge prices on them in divisional play in every game they play in the division the rest of the year, because they're clearly better than all the other teams. I think the White Sox are going to be a tough team to find value on down the stretch. That's one team where you probably will have to play the runs line if you like them, whether you like it or not. Yeah. Unless you can find another big team to parlay them with.
And I agree, Dave. I think you're going to struggle to find value with them as well. And I would tell people to be careful on the run line with that team, because they don't have the bats that some of these other teams that are winning on run lines on a regular basis have. Well, at least when I pick them. So I'm a little bit mad at the White Sox.
I would agree with
right
that. Their offense, I think it's fair to say that, and I'm not trying to knock the White Sox because they're in first place. It's not like they're playing bad baseball, but their offense has been a little inconsistent this year.
Yeah.
And, last year they just absolutely wrecked left-handers at a phenomenal clip. That hasn't been the case for the last couple months, really. The automatic play on White Sox versus lefties has kind of disappeared. So I think they're clearly the best team in their division, but I think this team, they're going to have problems in the playoffs. I don't really like their pitching very much, and pitching is what wins come postseason time.
Yeah, and I'm with you. And it's not only that; it's that over a 7-game period, this is a team that could put up 7 runs one game and 1 run the next. Just inconsistent all over the place. Teddy?
I mean, Chicago's they're not third in the big leagues. There's 4 teams that are bunched right around them. But other than the Dodgers and the Astros, the White Sox are the run scored this year right there with the Blue Jays.
Yep.
And
but
they're with everybody else. So I mean, their offense can get shut down, but they have plenty of big games. If I'm looking at Chicago's flaws, it's not the lineup; it's the starting pitching that I'm more concerned about.
Yeah.
Agree, Dave?
I would agree with that overall. Yeah.
Yeah, but Teddy, I mean, here's a perfect example of the White Sox, and I understand what you're saying. They are third, fourth, fifth best offensive team. It's the consistency of it. If you're going to hit 18 runs on day one, 2 runs the next day, I mean, you go through their last few games. Last night they put up a 1 spot. The game before, a 7. The game before that, a 2. The game before that, an 11. So yes, when you add that up, those are a lot of runs, but 2 of those games was a 1 and a 2, and 2 of those games was an 11 and a 7. And from a betting perspective, it lacks consistency. So I would rather a team go out there and put up 5 runs a game than a team goes out there and puts up a 10 spot and a 1 spot and an 11 spot and a 2 spot. It's the inconsistency of that offense that worries me. Anyway, Dave Cokin, anything to promote, my friend?
One baseball play today, and nothing in the football game. I'll sit back and watch. I guess I'll watch tonight. Was Dallas got any players? I mean, geez, sounds like they got left half the team home for this game. I'm not doing anything with that. Hopefully, we'll get involved next week with some NFLX.
Excellent stuff, Dave Cokin, everyone. You can find him at WagerTalk.com. If you guys have not bought his college football package yet, what are you waiting for? We have deals right now over at WagerTalk.com, and every week the price goes up. Please, guys, if you're going to play Dave's college football, just buy it now and let's go. And expect to have a monster year, because unlike the Chicago White Sox, Dave doesn't go 68% one year and 42% the next. Dave goes 60%, give or take, every year. So head over to WagerTalk.com and make sure to buy Dave Cokin's college football package. Dave, thanks for joining us. Guys, stay with us. Teddy's Big Game Breakdown, Andrew McInnis, and, of course, the presidential address.
The NFL 2021 season kicks off on Thursday, August 5th. And while some say I won't bet the preseason, but many NFL handicapping experts say there is more value betting the preseason than any other sport. This is one of the only times in sports betting that you can have a team and a coach trying to win versus a team and a coach that doesn't care. The NFL preseason is $249. You can save $70 by purchasing this package by kickoff of the Hall of Fame game August 5th. The entire NFL preseason for just $179. Yes, football is back.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And yes, I'm well aware I talked about the Steelers and the Cowboys, 2 days ago? And I gave a couple of leans. Today, maybe a little bit stronger than a lean because we've got more info. Right now, looking at the Wager Talk live odds screen, I'm seeing Pittsburgh in the prevailing number -2, total 32.5. And look, Hall of Fame games always go under. Every sharp dollar is on the under here, but I can't do it. This total's just too low. The quarterback rotations are too decent, even with the Steelers' offensive line concerns today. It's not like anyone's scared of the Cowboys' defensive third and fourth stringers. So I'm going to pass on the total and look at the side here. And it's very important to note, of all the things I'm going to say, this might be the single most important thing I'm going to talk about on the show all day. And that is in the preseason, we don't worry about the number 3. That's not a key number. The key number in the preseason, 1. 1s and 2s. What you will see is anyone that's down at the end of the game, they're always going to go for 2. When the fourth quarter starts, they start going for 2 to make sure that they don't get into any situation where there's ever going to be an overtime in a preseason game, in an NFL exhibition game. So all of a sudden, instead of laying -2 with Pittsburgh, use the money line on a team like the Steelers. Your favorites, yeah, sometimes you lose, going to cost you a little bit more. But at -130, that's the current range right now. You want Pittsburgh. Don't lay the -2. You want them on the money line. And if I'm playing this game, I can only look at the Pittsburgh Steelers side, whether you want to look at them first half, whether you want to look at them full game. And there's not one quote that I can point to and say, yeah, this is the quote. But when you read through everything Tomlin and McCarthy have said over the last couple of weeks, and I've read a bunch of quotes from both coaches, all right, McCarthy this is not a game that Dallas is taking seriously. And that is clear when it comes to who they're bringing. It's clear when he's talking about the rotations, et cetera, et cetera. It appears that Tomlin and the Steelers are far more interested in playing well, executing, et cetera, today. That's worth something. Playing first half, playing full game, Steelers money line's the way that I would look tonight. And again, it's not a client play, it's not a big play, but it's a Hall of Fame game. Let's get some action. Steelers. First half money line's -$1.25, full game money line -130. Wouldn't argue with either one. Prez, back to you.
Teddy Covers. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense, dude. I mean, Tomlin all of a sudden cares to win these preseason games. Well, he doesn't really, but I mean, things have changed.
Well, I mean, the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Last 2 preseasons, 2018, 2019, both times the Steelers came out and had something in game 1, which is fairly new compared to what they had been doing. When they hung 30-31, they won and covered them both in that first preseason game. And with a 4-game preseason for Pittsburgh and Dallas only. Yeah, Tomlin, to me, again, you don't want to read too much into it, but it looks like Pittsburgh is a little bit more interested in Dallas. And in August, that's worthy of a wager.
There you go. Teddy Covers, everyone. Andrew McInnis joining us. And Andrew, it's been a while, bro. How has your summer been? And I know you moved in with your girlfriend. Listen, if Teddy and I had a 21-year-old girlfriend, we'd move in with her too. So what's going on, bro?
It's good to see you guys. It's been a great summer.
I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
no freaking way would I move in with a 20. If I had a 20, like, I couldn't even fathom that scenario. No,
yeah,
I would not.
It's fun, Teddy.
You can come over once in a while. Yeah.
Andrew, let me tell you, it's more fun moving in with a 40-year-old woman. It's not as visually fun. But my friend,
it's been a great summer, Prez.
My friend who is my age, 52 years old, just moved in with his 22-year-old girlfriend, and his 21-year-old daughter is no longer speaking to him.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if I was a father, that would be pretty tough to explain to my daughter. So I can really kind of feel for his daughter.
But easy to explain to your son. Put up, bing!
True.
Andrew,
probably true.
Probably true. Canadian football, dude. Let's get into it. Man, this is going to be a strange year for Canadian football. They missed a full calendar year of play. The teams have to be coming in completely out of sync. I mean, we're seeing it too. I mean, you look at this game tonight, Andrew, and last night I went to bed. We had a 52.5 on board for the under. It's now at 49.5. So I think we're starting to see a lot of wise money come in on the under. What you've done unbelievable in the Canadian football. What is your approach? Are you going to tread lightly at the beginning?
It really depends on the numbers I get, the information that I get, Prez. But, I had someone yesterday ask me 2 questions. They said, number 1, convince me why I should like the CFL, and convince me why I'm going to make money in the CFL. And I told them, the NFL is super sharp. NFL is very sharp lines. As we all know, it's one of the hardest leagues to beat for people. But the casual bettor will continuously bet it on Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday afternoon with their buddies. But with the CFL, the information that you can get is just second to none. Right now, I have a quote I'm ready to give you guys from the Regina Post in Saskatchewan. And I can guarantee you not every CFL bettor is looking to these local newspapers for these quotes from coaches and players. So I just think the information, Prez, is really good out there. And, having expectations for the season, I think I've done more research this year for the CFL than I have in years past. And we'll see if it pays off because, like you said, we had a whole year without action.
Well, dude, listen, let's get to the first game. BC Lions, Saskatchewan, and there's really no line out there for this yet. Same with Toronto and Calgary. What are you going to do here? Do you have a line in mind?
Well, I'm going to just focus on the total because I feel like that it's a lot easier to examine a total versus a side. In this game, guys, in general, on the season, everybody makes their power rankings. You see power rankings from CFL.ca or different CFL blogs come out. I think the Saskatchewan Roughriders are completely overrated by many people. And so I'll be looking to expose that at many points during the season. But as we open things up here for them, I'm looking to bet the under in this game. We all can kind of try and decide with a year off, with nobody playing, no preseason, guys, of course. You have to ask yourself, what gets impacted more, the offense or the defense? And head coach Craig Dickinson of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, quote for quote, "It just takes longer for offenses to gel. I've always felt that way. Our offense is going to be just fine, and I'm very confident in what they can do." But every single headline, guys, from the Saskatchewan Roughriders green versus white scrimmages were that the offense couldn't even run a play. It was absolutely ridiculous. The defense was dominating them. Their defense, their pass rush is outstanding. And everybody's all caught up in the quarterback, Cody Fajardo, for the Roughriders. But how great can a quarterback be if he's running for his life every single time the ball is snapped? So I'm looking towards the under. I have a tough time seeing either offense between BC and Saskatchewan get touchdowns. And BC has injury problems, and it's not even week 1 yet. They haven't even played a game. So I'm looking towards the under. Like you said, Prez, no numbers yet, but that's where I'm going.
So looking at BC Saskatchewan under, what about the Argos and the Stampeders? Now, I am not a CFL expert. I do know, however, that betting against Toronto long-term has been a profitable endeavor, although
Yes.
it's changed in recent seasons and they've been more competitive. What about this year? Toronto and Calgary, the Argos and the Stampeders, what are we looking at for this week?
So, Teddy, for this week, it's kind of a watch and learn thing for the Argos because this is a team that they kind of pulled the NBA free agency mindset, Teddy, and they went out and grabbed a little bit here, a little bit of defensive guy here, a great receiver here, and they kind of picked up everybody. But when I go ahead and take a look at this team as a whole, it's going to take some time for them to really settle in and get it together. If I can get -7, -8, somewhere around that number for the Stampeders, that's where I'll be going with them. But again, I'm going to go ahead with the total and look under in this game because Calgary, they're a team that we've seen some continuity with them, some familiarity. There hasn't been as many changes with the Stamps compared to many other teams in the league, but there have been a few changes. So I do think there'll be a little bit of chemistry problems offensively. Their defense is well sound. And for Toronto, the key pieces they picked up were mainly on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll see a lower scoring game there, but I do think I'd lean towards the Calgary side. But Teddy, I know your question you asked me was for this week, but I would tell bettors to kind of almost hope that Toronto gets blown out over the first 3 to 4 weeks of the season and look to capitalize taking them with the points following those weeks.
Teddy, it's actually interesting that you mentioned, betting against Toronto has been a winning proposition, and you're 100% right. What's fascinating is, and I don't know if you know this, Teddy, and most Americans, but Toronto accounts for 25% of the population of Canada. 25%. So when you're looking at it, you would think, oh my God, like the Toronto Army is going to bet the Argos versus the Riders, Saskatchewan, and it will be like 25-1 on bets. Don't ever think that, because Toronto might be worth 25% of the population, but it is worth 0% of the people who give a damn about the CFL. Nobody in Toronto cares about the Argos. So
I will say this though, Prez.
Yeah.
Last year, we can recall the KC Chiefs. How did they finish the season off ATS, Teddy? Not very good.
Disaster.
It wasn't that strong.
1-5.
And that to me is going to be the Calgary Stampeders this season in the CFL. For bettors out there watching WagerTalk Today, make your money early in the season on the Stampeders. Bet against the Argos early in the season. And once those point spreads start getting larger and larger, start taking the Argos because you're going to get way better numbers.
Yeah, good point.
So,
Teddy, Mike's yours.
Sure. Well, there was an exhibition game, NFL X, that you wanted to talk about, preseason for next week, which was interesting to me. I'm curious to see what you found on the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Cleveland Browns. Looking right now at the WagerTalk live odds screen for next Saturday's action. I'm seeing the Browns -3 in most spots, a couple of 2.5s popping up. Total 37.5. This game goes next Saturday. What are we looking at right now, Andrew, with the Jags and the Browns?
As of right now, we aren't getting the best number as far as the opening number goes, but it's only going down. And I have to give a little quick plug here for Teddy's show he does with Drew every single Monday with the opening line report. I do watch that every Monday during the NFL. And I think people should be aware of these games, not just a few days before, because there's going to be movement. And when I looked at this game, guys, I'm checking out all the NFL X games in week 1 and checking out who's going to be playing, who are the winning coaches, who are the losing coaches. It's very simple to me, guys. I look at a Cleveland Browns team with, deep playoff run aspirations, with a talented filled roster, with guys that can make plays. And I ask myself, how many reps are some of these key guys going to get, at least early on in the season? And I take a look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. We all know what they're capable of. We all know the guys that they have, I guess, competing. Of course, Trevor Lawrence. Let's not forget about Minshew. Let's not forget about some of these younger guys, first couple of years in the league, competing for spots. I just think in general for this Jaguars team, getting some points with them, getting +3.5, +3, we're getting a team that's a lot more motivated and looking to probably play 4 quarters of football. Whereas the Browns, I can't see them playing 4 quarters of competitive football with guys competing for a serious amount of spots.
So I guess my follow-up for that is the other side of the equation. This is the Jacksonville team with new coordinators, new head coach, first-time NFL head coach. There are a lot of the learning curve is pretty steep for these teams. We're learning a new offense and a new defense in the offseason and new signal calling, and you got a rookie signal caller and all of that. Do you worry about, because I would say as many preseason games are decided by these mistakes that make you crazy as opposed to somebody doing something good. I would put the Jags as a more likely to make mistakes type of team. Agree or disagree?
I would agree with that. But I just simply, Teddy, think that they're going to play 4 quarters of quote-unquote serious football. And I know they're still playing a national football game. I know it's even preseason. But I understand there's new faces here, there's new faces there, there's guys competing for spots. But when it comes down to it, I mean, Teddy, you've seen some of these preseason games. You've been watching football longer than I've been on this earth. You know that sometimes you can just tell in the preseason, this team cares just a tad bit more than this other team does. And I completely understand where you're coming from. When I've told people about my Jaguars free play, you can find my full analysis on my homepage at WagerTalk. They've kind of said, the team you're backing had 1 win last season. What are you doing? And I'm just saying, this isn't the regular season. I don't care about that number. I care about this game in particular.
And just to jump in quickly.
No, I got to jump in real quick, Prez, because it's crucial to make this point. Anyone that's trying to give you any advice about preseason that's telling you how good or bad a team is supposed to be this year or last year, or they won 1 game last year, it couldn't be more meaningless. All right?
Yeah,
I agree.
It's not about what their record was last.
Actually, Teddy, I find it actually meaningful for the opposite, for the counterintuitive reason, and that is, look, Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, the Packers, Tampa Bay, these teams are coming into the preseason to fine-tune themselves. The New York Jets, Jacksonville, all these teams with new head coaches and terrible records over the last little while, they're coming in to change the culture. And I think that actually does start in preseason. I think the way to attack preseason is to look at betting the worst teams possible against the best teams. So I don't know if you have anything to add there, but counterintuitively, I actually do think it matters.
So was one important point Not in the regular season walkthrough game, you don't. And whether that's week
not in
2 or
week
week
3,
we don't know. But we don't know what it's going to be this year. No one said what they're going to do yet. I haven't seen anything to tell us what the regular season walkthrough game is. But I've seen people get into trouble with let's find some value with the crappy team in the regular season walkthrough game, and the game's 31-3 at halftime. Plenty of value there. You can load up in the second.
Good point. Andrew McInnis. Andrew, what do you got to promote, bro? Other than
CFL season
with a 21-year-old.
24-year-old, but let's not get too crazy about that. But tonight's CFL season opener play, guys. It's the first game of the season. I have my analysis put in there, pretty good write-up, I would say. And I've researched this for several weeks, several months, really. The off-season was very entertaining to watch, and I'm pretty well researched with the league. And I did some videos with WagerTalk TV. Check them out after this show is done with the guys. I did a video, 5 differences between American football and Canadian football. And I think many people have liked it so far, and some of your viewers would enjoy to learn some of the rule changes.
Yeah, and listen, I'll tell you flat out. I mean, the one rule that I wish the NFL would adopt that the Canadian Football League has is motion in the backfield. Motion in the backfield for the wide receivers. Oh, I mean, it just changes the game. These guys can
I got to give my 2 cents.
Yards off the line and hit the line in full speed. Sorry, Andrew.
The kickoff and the field goal rules, and this is not even just me, this is from several websites, are what people are getting the most excited about. The special teams, not just kicking field goals, but matters so much more. The most meaningless part of NFL football right now is wasting a couple minutes off our lives every time we watch a football game when they kick it out through the end zone every time. Or, a punt return. There's no kneels in the CFL. Andrew, when you get a punt. You get 5 yards and you get space. Yeah. It's just the special teams is more exciting in the CFL.
Listen, I get it, Andrew, but we'll disagree on one thing. I don't want to see NFL games end by a missed field goal that goes through the end zone and equates to 1 point. So there are some problems. Anyway, get out of here, my brother. Go and enjoy your 24-year-old and give us some likes, everybody. Andrew McInnis was awesome. Dave Cokin, the best as usual. And we're only at 45 likes out of 200 people. That's literally the exact same as the percentage of population Toronto has against Canada, 25%. Let's go. Hit that like button. Shut up, Teddy. Put me in the NFL president. What?
Your math skills are weak. That's 22.5%, not 25%.
Oh my God, I freaking rounded up. Jesus, mother of God. Put me in that not penalty. There, that one. Guys, I just want to shout out to myself. The NFL presidential address starts today. It will not be taped live, but make sure to check it out. It is the oldest show Wager Talk has, the first show ever done, and we're going back to the basics. It's just going to be me. Nobody else. No Teddy, no Merrill, just the Prez. Today we're going to do the AFC East. So please make sure to check that out. And I got a pick for you now that you'll hear about during that show. And that is Josh Allen to win the MVP at plus 1,200. Look, I think Mahomes is going to be, I think Mahomes is the front runner to win the MVP. But from a value perspective, I think Josh Allen is second. I think he has the second best chance. I think they have a pathway to 14-3 on the season. And if Kansas City stumbles a couple of games, I think Josh Allen will win that MVP. And at plus 1,200, that is outstanding value from my perspective. As far as baseball goes, I like the Cincinnati Reds minus 1.5, the Cincinnati Reds over the total, and the Blue Jays. I told you you're going to be hearing this a lot. Minus 1.5 again. This Blue Jay team, oh my God. And now they picked up Boreas. Their rotation is good. Their lineup, I think, is the best in all of baseball. I definitely, guys, be betting the Jays as often as possible moving forward. Other than that, make sure to watch Wager Talk Today every day, 12 to 1 Eastern. Thursday's show had Dave Cokin and Andrew McInnis on. Teddy, I got a shawarma today. It's Shawarma Thursday. Take us home.
Though, no, I got a question for you. When did you start doing the presidential address? When did you start doing the presidential address?
Oh, you're going to talk about your sports memo show being longer?
I'm going to talk about opening line report for the NFL. Yeah. That's been every Monday. Yeah. I think I started doing that in 2003 or 2004.
Well, why don't we talk about?
I got you trumped on the.
Why don't we talk about the Simpsons too? Because they have the same amount of relevance to Wager Talk as that show did. Now it has relevance to Wager Talk, but you were doing that show when it wasn't part of Wager Talk. The oldest show that Wager Talk has ever done. Not Sports Memo when you and Truschel and Aaron and whatnot owned it. Nope. But with that said, your opening line report is exquisite. And you and Drew do a killer job on it, like legit. Now, will you please take us home?
That's going to wrap it for the Thursday edition of Wager Talk Today. We'll be back again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon on the East Coast. Between now and then, enjoy the games. Good luck tonight.
How much do you want to pay for the NFL and college football season? You decide how much you want to save. Right now, Wager Talk is offering their lowest price for the 2021 NFL and college football seasons. From now through the start of the regular season, we are offering special early bird pricing, but these prices will increase by $20 per sport and $30 for the college football and NFL combo every week until the season kicks off. Save up to $200 this week by buying your favorite Wager Talk capper for the package. And remember, the longer you wait, the less you save.